crew here at the museum. And I would be remiss, I may speak a little cryptically for a moment, but the people I'm talking about will understand. I had two people that met with me every week that were just, I mean, it almost makes me cry. They're such great friends, and I'd like to thank those two people. I won't put them on the spot. And I had another mentor that helped me through a lot of things that's sitting in the audience today, and I'd like to thank that gentleman. Most importantly, my wife.
Yep.
I don't know anyone that would let her husband go homeless for 98 days in 13 cities because he believed in a cause. And without her support, seriously, this, forget it. I mean, even past the first homeless journey would never happen. Give her another year. And so now that I have some of the thank yous out of the way, I want to tell you how the project came to pass. And I'd like to thank every one of you for being here at Homeless and Hungry and Skid Robot's first fundraising event together. I think Skid and I will have a long, lasting relationship. I wish he was here, but I think he's still over painting or cooling off, I don't know which. This idea was born when I was on the streets of Los Angeles. Skid Robot heard about my project and knew I was coming out there. And so when I was out there, he came and he introduced me to his street art, and I was blown away. I'll just tell you, he created a bedroom for me in 23 minutes in total blackness. If any of you have seen that purple bedroom, that was 23 minutes in absolute blackness. So we were both very strong advocates for the impoverished and the homeless, and that's how this idea began to be born. And I had somebody, some folks that have morphed the idea from what Skid and I had began, and it's now what you see today out there. And I have to tell you that each one of those people that are out there in those cardboard cutouts, I either lived homeless with when I was on the street for a month, or I know because I've seen them on the street since I've been off homelessness, and I've seen them constantly develop a relationship with these people. One of those folks that I'd like to thank is here tonight, and that's Dan, sitting right there. Daniel's the reason we do this, because Dan was on the streets a long time, and I won't, you can watch the video by using the QR code. I won't take up our precious time with that, but I'll say that Liz and Tim Hall from the Ephraim Project were working on Dan for how many years? 4 years. And I met Dan when I was homeless on the streets. And you ought to see the picture of me and Dan the day we met a year ago and what Dan looks like today. Dan just recently got into housing, and that piece of art that's being created is going to help Dan get on with his new life. All the money that's made through this is going to actually go help these for homeless individuals. Not all of the money, because we have a lot of expenses, as you can see, but the proceeds will go to help these for homeless people and change their lives. And you'll be able to follow on Facebook and see what we go do with, I'm not going to tell Dan how to spend his money, but I am going to follow him around with a camera. I don't know. Same with Carl. I'd love to buy him 6 months worth of shelter nights or a hotel, however he'd like to spend it, or you get the idea. This is what we really need to think about, is all the people that are in this room did all of this that you see out there, whether it's Skid Robot, whether it's all the advocates that are in the room. They did it because people are out there suffering on the streets. And I don't want to make it a big downer, but I gotta tell you, we got a lot of people out there that are really hurting. And a lot of times, you know, it's easy. I've used this analogy before, but it's real simple that, you know, I remember when Paula and I and Anthony moved in together, we put this beautiful poem on the wall in the house that we all wrote and helped design, and we helped spray it on the wall. And every time I walked out of the house, I was so proud of that. I mean, I saw it every time I walked out. Yeah, we made that. Yeah, our family's cool. You know, we got it going on. A year later, I walked by it every day going to work to teach, and I never saw it. And why? Because you get desensitized, you pass by something, and that's what we do with people that are on the streets in Orlando sometimes. We don't think of the humanness behind those folks that you go by. So that's why we're here tonight, truthfully. I mean, it's really cool to see some unbelievable art, and I'm going to go through that in just a minute, that's out there. But just that all of these people that helped, whether it be Skid Robot, whether it be they feed downtown, whether they're advocates or they're just general citizens tonight that are here giving up their time for people that truly, truly just need everybody to be educated. Because I assure you, when we educate the general public on the truths of homelessness, everybody wants to help, because if anybody knew it was that way, they'd never stand for it. And so that's what we're here tonight, about advocacy and about telling people stories. And each one of those pieces of art has a QR code. If you don't get a chance to watch it, you can check it on my Facebook page. But it's a video to show you about these people. And so if you know anybody that knows an unbelievable piece of art, I will just tell you this. These are the first 4 pieces of art Skid Robot has ever made available for sale. I don't know if you realize it or not, but this gentleman creates graffiti behind homeless people. I hate to say it, but it's just true. Commits a felony every time he does it.
Takes a risk.
Okay?
Yes.
He believes in this cause, and so do I. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of people that are really, really passionate about that. And that's what we're all here about tonight, and that's how each one of these pieces of art is created. And I'll quickly go through them, and then I'll let you guys go out and sweat some more, because I just want to thank you for coming. I don't have this big, big speech about all my ideals and everything, and that tonight. I have to tell you is, thank you to everybody that helped put all of this together, because it's been months and months and months and lots of growing pains in the making to get here today. And I'd like to thank everybody one last time. But the 4 pieces of art, Jennifer and her child are living in a hotel right now, and I'd like to change that situation. I really would. And she ended up homeless because of domestic violence initially, and that's what's represented out there. Second, Carl, who's we listed as the agent of the streets. I've known Carl. I slept up the street from Carl last year when I slept homeless in Orlando. And it's a great diet plan. If you want to lose 23 pounds in 30 days, just go live homeless in Orlando. I promise you will lose lots of weight. I don't really recommend it, but Carl and I were homeless together, literally living down the street, and I watched the way people treated Carl every day. And I fell in love with Carl. Me and him still see each other all the time. And he's currently in a shelter when he has enough money. I want to change that situation for him. And then you have Kathleen, who we said aging disgracefully, but Kathleen's only 52 years old. I don't know if you saw in that graphic, but homeless people die at an average age of 44 years old instead of 72, okay, for a normal person. And so we need to get these people that are chronically homeless, that have mental illness, that have all these things we're talking about, all the problems, we need to get them off the street. And that's what is going on here in Orlando, that I'm happy that I even had any part in spreading the message about. I didn't have any part in actually doing any of that. Mr. Bailey, the organizations that are throughout Orlando, the 2 mayors and everybody have just done that, okay? But that's because the public mentality changed. So that's my job, is to teach you about homelessness. So if you really want 1,000 memes on your timeline a day, okay, and really stupid pictures, and you go, gosh, where did Tom even think of this? If you'd love to do that, get on Homeless and Hungry. And I'd like to thank all of you for being here. And if you know anybody that would love to buy a great piece of art, this will be on display out there for the entire month. And then we're going to take it to another place, and Skid's probably